What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations. And I'm the host of Epic Conversations.
Something's got to separate you from the rest. So you got to be willing to do whatever.
In my experience, Black men have struggles like having community with each other.
But she represents the mammy stereotype.
Now that was epic. I needed that. What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations. And I'm the host of Epic Conversations, 2018 Innovation Award winner, 2020 Best Podcast News Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. I also co-host and co-produce the only online show in the world for dads, fathers, and male caregivers that's sponsored by Dove Men Plus Care. And being part of that movement, we've reached out directly and indirectly to over 400,000 dads, fathers, and male caregivers, not 400,000, 500,000, 500,000 dads, fathers, and male caregivers around the world. And as always, I like to say you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. I want to say thank you so much for taking the most important thing, your time to hang out with us. Usually you don't see Dr. Vibe in the afternoon during the weekday, but this friend deserves, and you are going to have a great time checking out this conversation, whether it's live or on replay. And I just want to say, all right, we already have two people in the house. One person saying peace, peace. And also in the house, a lady that you need to know about, Emma Ansa, News with Purpose. There she is. We know who Emma Ansa is. So good to see her in the house. So let's do some housekeeping things. As always, subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and hit the notification button. And also like the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Blue Sky, and Substack. And please tell people about it. Subscribe. But if you subscribe, I want you to at least watch or engage. Not good if you just subscribe and just don't do anything else. Got to get some action in the game. Also, to advertise your business, product, or service on our show, please feel free to email us at dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com. And also, don't forget Indie Soup TV, good associate down in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, Dr. Tachi, programs that independent content creator site on YouTube, has over 28,000 subscribers in 2.5 years. So in YouTube terms, subscriber-wise, that's in the top 4% of sites on YouTube. And a lot of this content that I do is on that platform. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you something, and we have someone that's involved. I'm involved with her coming up on July 25th. So we're going to show something, and then we're going to bring up our special friend today.
Toronto, July 25th. The Narrative Power Summit is landing in the 6. This is about ownership.
This is about controlling our story. If you're serious about narrative power, strategy, and ownership, this is the room you need to be in. To get your tickets, go to africandiasporanews.org/Canada. I'll see you in Toronto.
Yes, we're going to see you in Toronto. You're going to see me in Toronto. I'm honored and privileged to be hosting and also leading a panel discussion at this event, the ADNC Power Summit, Narrative Power Summit. Let me get that correct. I want to get that correct for Emma. I don't want Emma to come and tap me on my bald head. So it's on July 25th in Toronto. Get tickets and find out more information. There's the link there. I mentioned that we have someone that's going to be at that event you need to check out. And I've been watching this lady over the last few days, and I said, it's about time we get Demetra Kaye in the house. Demetra Kaye is going to be part of the Narrative Power Summit, but we have her right here, right now with us today. So good day. How are you?
I am fabulous. I am so happy to be here. And thank you so much for inviting me to have a conversation with you.
Fantastic. Well, I want to thank you back. And no joking aside, people, we have to thank Emma for making this happen. So Emma, Huge thank you for that. Can you just share a little bit with our family about you?
Oh gosh, how much time do you have? No, I'm just kidding. Well, of course, I am Demetra Kaye. I'm on my own channel, the Demetra Kaye, on a show on YouTube and Facebook. Of course, you can find me on the African Diaspora News Channel. I am there 3 days a week on my show, 3 days a week, Sunday through Tuesday on my channel, 5 p.m. Central Time, and 11 a.m. Central Time, Tuesday through Thursday on the African Diaspora News Channel. But more importantly, there's a lot of things. I don't know where I start. Well, professionally speaking, I am a public relations professional, where I teach people how to be more verbally and visually appealing. And if you want my services, you can go to demetrakaye.com, fill out an inquiry, and I will get back to you. Also, I am just a lover of Black people. Not just Black Americans, but all over the world. And I have used my gifts and talents that were born to me from my mother and father and given to me from God to really just speak out, not necessarily about injustices, but to our people in hopes of educating us, along with myself, right? I don't know everything about who we should be, who we used to be, and, who we are now. So that's just a little bit.
Well, I love that. There's so many things I want to lightly touch on before we really get into it. We already have something in common, other than being from the motherland. But after I graduated from university, I took a year-long course in public relations.
Very interesting, very vast field. And
very.
I didn't take the traditional approach of, doing the press releases. I can do all of those things, right? But I just feel like there's a lot of people who do not know how to, let's say, interview, right? Just like when you ask me, tell me about yourself. When I work with people, and I'll say that right off the top. So tell me about yourself. And they're, well, I'm like, you don't know? You don't know about yourself? So that's what I help them do, right? And to present, be more visually appealing too, because some people show up on the scene looking kind of, they need some help.
Then what brought you into the world of live streaming? And family, please subscribe to her channel. How many times do you broadcast? I asked her that before we went live. How many times do you live stream a week?
6 times.
Okay.
Or 6 days.
6 times a week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow.
So 3 on my channel, and then 3 on African Diaspora News Channel, and twice on Tuesday.
What brought you into the world of live streaming?
It's a funny story, actually. So back in the day, I'd say about 2015 or so, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, he put out a call to us to not celebrate Christmas, right? So it was down with Santa, up with Jesus. And so I would go around along with my daughter. She was my so reluctant videographer, if you will. She was using the camera phone. And so I would just make videos and say, hey, let's not celebrate Christmas. Let's save our money. Let's practice group economics. And so some of those videos went viral. Now, mind you, this was before live streaming became a thing on Facebook. So when I learned that, now we can live stream, I just one day was playing around in my friend Donovan's kitchen, and I pressed the live stream, and I was like, oh, hello. And the rest was history, honestly. You're on mute.
So what do you enjoy most about live streaming?
I enjoy being able to have live conversations. So on my show, on the African Diaspora News Channel, on my own channel, I do something what I think is kind of unique, is I try to read all of the comments. Now, because my audience is growing a little bit, I don't really like to call them audience. I like to call them my family members because I do love them so much. Now that it's growing so much, I can't read every comment, but I do read everyone's comment at least once, because I really do feel like it's a conversation. So I like to have conversations, and I learn from them as well. It's not just me up here bumping my gums. I get to learn from them. So that's what I enjoy about it the most, the conversation.
I feel that we're twin kids of the same mother, or different mothers. I'm the same thing. I love engaging the audience and getting their comments up. So since you mentioned that, we're going to do that right now, because we have a number of people that are fans of yours already in the house. So let's look at some of these comments. So first off, and I got to go back because there's so many. So there's a person here, Emancipation with Purpose. Hello, it's great to see you here. We have Brown's Ms. Jones. Is this where Demetra Kaye will be? Yes, this is where she is right now. And then Emma says also Lady D in the house. She gives a blessings emoji to Alcio. And then another comment here, African American, Black American community advocate and global nation advocacy. Wow, you got your family here. Okay. Another one person says inspired. Also says love you all. Love it, love it, love it. We're getting right into it. Lots of, man, you got them here. You got them here.
Well, I appreciate them being here. Like I said, they're my family and I love them. And I think they love me too.
Well, I have a feeling that's a given, that they love you, period. I'd like to know, we're going to go in a little bit deep today about a specific conversation topic, the state of Black America. And when I was watching, I said, oh, I'm so happy that Demetra, because she has such a great scope on this. So my first conversation piece would be, when you hear the state of Black America on March 11th, 2026, what's the first word or image that comes to your mind and why?
The first image is, or word is awakening. That's what comes to my mind regarding Black America, because the awakening is really, it's on our part and it's everyone else's part. Because Black Americans, we are so dynamic, as we have an interesting history, one that we wouldn't have willingly participated in right here in America as far as the institution of slavery. But even on those plantations and after the plantations, we have managed to survive. And we are an ever overcoming people, because there's so many roadblocks and things like that. But I like the word awakening, because we are really starting to wake up to the greatness of who we are. Because again, we've been taught that we weren't, we were taught that we started from slavery as slaves, but we're starting to learn, obviously, that that's not our beginning. And we're also realizing that we are who we're looking for. We're not looking for anybody else outside of us to save us. So awaken.
And I noticed that because with all the stuff that's going on in America, I notice a lot of Black America's not commenting, not saying nothing. They're just letting things be and doing their own business.
Yeah, and in regarding what's going on, of course, we know that President Donald Trump, he took office last year, and it's been a lot. It's been a lot going on. But I guess going with the term awakening, it has been an awakening for a lot of other people outside of Black Americans, because, in a sense, we have been going to everybody else's burning building, whatever it was. We are there to help. Here we are to save the day. But then we realize, hey, we ain't got to show up to every fight, because every fight doesn't show up for us. And so while we are abstaining from what's going on with the ICE raids and all the other things, it's not to say that we necessarily agree with it. Some of us agree with certain aspects of things, but we're just like, hey, don't mistake our absence for it being just about you. Our absence is now really about us, right? Now, you've heard this term delineation. It means a whole host of things, but from my aspect, it means that we are now concentrating on us, because Black Americans, we have to build our own community now. We've been told to do that for so long. So again, from my point of view, it's not about hating everybody else. It's just that, hey, y'all got it from here, right?
Nice. Let's catch up with the comments because Demetra wants us to. So Al B. Chill says, definitely here to support Demetra. Don P. Ben Yahulada, I hope I get that right. If not, it's my head, not my heart, says, Salama, Demetra Kaye. I also have here It's Ernest
Yes.
says, I'm here for your sister. I'm here for your sister. Also, Ernest says which that's what we're supposed to do. Mind our own business until further notice. And Don P says, the awakening is the awakening by the Most High to our true heritage. Them dry bones are waking up.
That's right.
Ernest also says, we don't have permanent friends. We just have permanent interest. And then also the Black man in America and woman in America has realized that we are on our own.
Yeah, and that's the awakening. We have finally realized, because we have been taught that, you know, we have to have all these alliances. Well, an alliance in a sense alludes to a friendship, and when we are friends, that means that we do for each other. But Black Americans have realized, as I said, we really don't have any friends. And as I said earlier on the African Diaspora News Channel, sometimes we're not even a friend to ourselves. So we're awakening to all of those realities.
Got it. I have a 3-part question here that I'm going to ask you. And it's not that crazy, but so if you had to give Black America a report card right now in 3 areas: economically, politically, and socially, what grades would you give, and what reasons would you give those grades?
Well, if I'm being honest, economically, I'd have to give us an F, because right now we give 97% of almost a $2 trillion spending, earnings away to everybody else, keeping 3% of that. And we do not have the businesses and schools and things like that we need. So, I mean, just, and these are facts, not mine. I'd have to give us an F. And then you talk about politically, well, we got to get an F there too, because the Black Americans predominantly vote for a party that does not vote for us. That party being the Democrat Party, they do for everybody else but Black Americans, and they can only do that because we give them our votes. And so if you are giving your votes to somebody who is practicing benign neglect of you, you have to get an F. Now, socially, I have that. What exactly socially are we speaking of?
That's a good question. I'll let you define that, because I know socially can go so many different ways. So when you hear socially first, whatever way you want to define that, what grade would you give, and what's the reason?
So if I go with socially as far as an influence, I would give us an A++++, because we are very influential people, not just here in America, but all over the world. I don't care where you go, you will see the influence of Black Americans. So socially, yes, as far as our influence, we have to get an A+.
Okay, good stuff. I knew you'd do that, no problem. Just some more comments here. Al B. Chill says, finally woke. And Don P says, I think he answered the first, he thought he'd give Black America probably economically a D-.
It's close enough.
And he also said, we were an F, but the examining the rates is re-examining. Okay. The bed exam, the overall grade. No, you're saying overall grade. Okay, we'll go with that. I want to talk also too, does Black America feel different now than it did 5 or 10 years ago?
Oh, absolutely. We feel different. Because 5 or 10 years ago, I would say most of us were on the Democratic plantation. Now, when I say the Democratic plantation, it's, vote blue no matter who. We ain't really asking for nothing. If you take somebody like Barack Obama, I know that was 2016, so about 10 years ago at this point. A lot of us, and I say us, I mean me, we voted for him. And Ann Coulter, she is a extreme right-wing conservative, right? She made an excellent point. She says, Barack Obama ran around saying hope and change, hope and change. She says, but nobody ever asked him to define what hope and change is. And when I heard her say that, I was like, she's right. We never asked her to define that. We was just hope and change. We had it all over our t-shirts and signs and bumper stickers and stuff. But then we finally realized what that meant. We hoped that the Democratic Party would change their minds about actually doing something for us. So yes, back then we were on a, we shall overcome and, all that. And now we're like, wait a minute, nah, I'm not going to keep showing up for them. They don't show up for us. So, and that's not good for the Democratic establishment, because we are starting to ask questions. And I came up with this, I think I did. What's in it for Black America, right? WIFBA, what's in it for Black America? We are now starting to say, what WIFBA? What's in it for me to do that? So yes, we're thinking a lot differently.
If you had the opportunity to speak with the powers of the Democratic Party, what would you tell them they need to do when it comes to Black America?
I would repeat the same things that they've been hearing. Hey, you need to do for your most loyal group of voters. You know what we want? We want reparations, right? We want our 40 acres and a mule. Some people will say a Tesla, some people will say a tractor, whatever. But we want what our ancestors did not get. And that was paid for the stolen labor and all of the things that they did not get, the stolen land, the gentrification. We want all of that to stop. We want a hate crime bill. We want you to show up for us like you show up for everybody else. That's what I would say to them. So it would be the same old thing, nothing new.
Okay. I want to jump over to the area of economy.
Mm-hmm.
So reports show Black unemployment is back up and around recession levels, even with the broader economy isn't calcified that way. How do you see the impact of Black unemployment impacting Black real life?
I listen, I was unemployed before. I've lost a job, and it's terrible. But I would say the upside to that is we can do for self. We have been called to do for self for a very long time. Now, the Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan said, especially when he was talking about Kanye, when, them people took all his wealth when he got in trouble with them. Well, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said, if they could take it from you, was it ever really yours? So if they could take a job from you, did it belong to you? What belongs to you is what you own and control 100%. And so we know that Black folks, right? We are the descendants of pyramid builders. Do what you want with that. But if you look at the picture behind me, that's Madam C.J. Walker's home, right? She was the daughter of a slave. She was a washerwoman where she would wash white people's clothes, and her hands were just, cracked and bloodied. And she says, I can't do this no more. And she built an empire. Some say the first multi-level marketing system, if you will, where those people there, that's just some of the people that she employed. And they were butlers and maids and mammies and all this other stuff too. So I use this picture as an inspiration that if she could do it, the daughter of a slave right out of slavery in Jim Crow, what's our excuse? So yeah, it's terrible to lose a job. But the awakening, right, we're going with that word, is that, okay, great. Build something for yourself. If we built the plantations, built Washington, and a whole host of other things, what's wrong with us now? We can't build nothing now?
Nice. Okay, more comments. Don P. says, if you want to save this country, you must pay what you owe. And todas, we have healed Babylon, but she would not be healed. And Emma's giving her 100, saying, you're on fire. You're on fire. Love it. Love it. Love it. Also, what are you hearing from Black workers and entrepreneurs about job security, layoffs, access to capital right now?
Well, I know a whole lot of Black entrepreneurs, right? Especially that of Brother Phil Scott, right? He is an amazing Black entrepreneur. And he comes to my mind because he has built, a media entity. He has. And he has not only been able to take care of himself and his family, but he has made it to where others are able, like myself, right? I get a check from Brother Phil Scott, right? I'm an employee. So what I'm saying is, I've people like that, they're inspirational to me because it's not easy. He would tell you himself, this is not easy. I'm sure he has some sleepless nights, but I'm sure he would choose it a million times over than to have to be answering and, to massa per se or whatever. So on the entrepreneurial side, I hear that, yeah, it's a little, and I'm an entrepreneur too. I got to get it out the mud every day, right? I don't punch a clock per se. It's exciting and it's scary, but most of us would choose it 100 times over than to go back to where we were. I used to work for corporate America, and I had a stomach ache and was stressed every day that I walked into that bank. I used to be a personal banker, and yeah, it was terrible, right? So most entrepreneurs who are Black are hopeful because they see the possibilities of fending for yourself, feeding yourself, and not having to ask permission. Can you go on vacation? Whatever it is. So as far as capital is concerned, again, we know that we as Black Americans, we have the money. Unfortunately, we misappropriate it. So when we start having the conversations more about building Black businesses, it is said that if we were to keep 10% instead of the 3% that we keep, if we were just to keep 10%, we could build more businesses and hire more Black folks, and we won't have to worry about, Elon going up there and Doge and slashing all these jobs. That would not even be our concern because we got our own thing going on.
You talk about Elon and job cuts, and we all know the impact, especially on the slash of federal government jobs, especially on Black women. It's been catastrophic. What are the real world consequences of these rollbacks on Black families?
Just the way it is on white families, of course, you don't have income, then you can't take care of yourself. You start missing the mortgage or the rent, car payments, the food on the table, ain't no steak with the beans and rice, all those things. So listen, like I said, I've been unemployed. I've been there before. I've been to where I'm like, I got $10. Listen, I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. I had a master's degree and I was working at Amazon warehouse. I scrubbed toilets too. Okay. Until I see one thing I ain't gonna never do is lie to kick it. I don't want nobody ever to think that Demetra Kaye sitting up there and I've always had it together. Nah, as my brother always says, also going through it, I also gone through it. Okay. So yes, until I rearranged my understanding, I was like, nah, you ain't gonna be working at no Amazon. And listen, I always say if I had to go scrub a toilet, house clean, I would do it again. I come from domestic. Both of my grandmothers were domestics for white people. So I'm not ever gonna say I'm above it. So I know what it is to lose a job, but yeah, so what we do is we rearrange our understanding. You either go get another one or you make your own. And one thing about a Black woman is we are the very most resourceful people amongst them on this earth. Even when we was freed reluctantly off of those plantations, they still came back to get us. Could you watch my babies? Right? Madam C.J. Walker, she created all that. So if we could do it back then, we could do it again.
I want to ask you, as you're really passionate about this on regards to Black, what is your message to Black women at this moment in history?
My message to Black women is remember who you come from. Remember who you are. See, that's the problem. Everybody wants us to forget we come from pioneers. We come from fighters. We come from people who survived the worst of it all. Remember who you are. Tap into those roots. Remember those things. We don't come from a weak people. One thing, the least weak person on the planet is a Black woman, right? We've endured and we're enduring so many things, but we still find a way to make $1 out of 15 cents. You could give us a one bean and a piece of bubble gum and we're going to make a meal out of it. So remember that. Don't let society and everybody else tells you weak. You need somebody to dangle a carrot in front of you to make sure you get by. Because my grandmothers, like I said, both of them was domestics and they owned homes. And when they left up out of here, they left their children and their grandchildren something. And they did that by scrubbing the floors. And listen, my dad's mother, my grandmother was a nanny for Jamie Lee Curtis. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But so my grandmother, she wasn't a defeated woman. So we don't come from defeated women. So we got to unlearn that because it's disrespectful to them.
Well, being a Black man, I'd also want to know, what is your message to Black men at this time?
My same thing. You remember who you are, right? My father, who recently passed, my dad worked for himself his whole life. He was a mechanic. He had a job at Ferrari. starting out, and they accused him of scratching the car, and they fired him and withheld his check. He had to sue them, and they paid him his money. But he says from that point, especially when he joined the Nation of Islam at 19, I would never, ever be in a position to where a man could fire me and call me a liar and withhold my money. So he worked for himself to the day that he passed. So I say this to Black men, remember who you are. We built this joint. When I say this joint, I mean America, right? We built this, okay? Now, I know society tells Black men, you ain't this, you ain't that, you are no good, you a baby daddy. Don't you ever forget who the original baby daddy of America is. That's the white man. It ain't you. That's them, right? So you are kings. You come from kings. You don't start from the plantation. So get up off it. And it's also said that the Black American community is matriarchal and that the Black woman is at the helm of the community. And that is true. And maybe it shouldn't be that way. But listen, as I said, I'm a Black woman, as you can see, and I don't have a problem with a Black man saying, I got it. Hey, boo-boo, I need you to sit down. I got it from here. See, that's what we waiting on y'all to do. And I'm not saying that there's Black men that don't do that. They do. But we need y'all to stop all the foolishness, along with the Black woman, stop all the foolishness and take your rightful place in our community, because you are who we're waiting on.
Man, you said originally you had half an hour. I'm glad, because you could have mic drop right there. That was beautiful. That was beautiful. Let's get back to some comments. Sota says, when you pursue your true calling, you never regret it. Facts. And Emma says, I will never go back to the corporate plantation. I agree. Do for self. And she also says, you better preach, sister. Love it. And also, Al B. Chill says, you are who we are waiting on. Whoa. Keep the comments coming, family. Whether live on replay, you need to watch this one on replay. This is, as we say, fire. Fire. Let me ask also, too, if you could change one federal or local policy tomorrow to shift Black economic reality, which lever would you pull first? Wages, housing, student debt, or something else?
If I could shift, so is it something that's already existing or something that could be created?
Let's go with what exists.
Well, there's not a lot that exists specifically for Black Americans. Anything that has ever been created for us, whether it's educationally, and I say for us loosely, right, financially or anything, it's always been shared. So there's nothing that really exists for us specifically. But if I had to go to something that was created in the other category, that they would create a bill to give us our money, okay? Because they got these reparation initiatives all over. They got the HR 40, which is a study of reparations, but it's been around since I think the 90s or something like that. And it's on the shelf collecting dust. Now, anybody who's familiar with the institution of slavery in America, do you need to study that? As I always say, if you know that Black folks were put on plantations against their will and had the most horrible things happen to them from sun up to sundown, that if I just told you those things, I think most people would say, yeah, give them their money, right? But so we don't need a study, we need a check. So if it was up to me, I'd be like, yeah, pass reparations and give them, which is into the trillions, mind you, right? But then you hear people say, well, he ain't got it. They're spending trillions right now over there in Iran, right? They spent billions on illegal immigration and a whole host of other things. They find the money, right? They dig into couch cushions and find up the extra change to pay for stuff. But when it comes to Black Americans, we ain't got it. And we've heard that from Barack Obama. We've heard that from Kamala Harris and a whole host of other people that say they like us. So yeah, run us our money.
Okay. Al B. Chill says, and you better thank a union member. Demetra gets that one, LOL.
Yeah, that's Kamala. You better thank a union member.
And also, Bryfor and Jeff says she's right. Oh, yeah, show you right, as Barry White would say. Show you right. She is right. Let me ask also now, talk about how do you read the attacks on DEI? Is it about budgets, ideology, or an intentional effort to weaken Black progress?
I don't think it's any of those. I think it's about foolishness. That's what it is. I think it's about foolishness. I think it's about red meat to the races, because we know that DEI does not benefit Black Americans. In fact, DEI benefits white women. Black Americans are probably like 5 or 6 on the list. Okay, diversity, equity, and inclusion. Just like affirmative action, it has benefited white women the most, and so they use DEI as red meat rather to the racists to say, oh, we're getting rid of DEI, which is a dog whistle in a sense to racists that, see, this is what we're doing against Black people. It's like, no, you're not, sucker, because that ain't got nothing to do with us, right? But because a lot of us are uneducated and we're so emotional, we think that DEI is about us. It's not. It's about white women. So them getting rid of DEI is hurting white women. And the one thing they're going to learn about Black Americans is you can take the rug from under us and we still going to survive.
100%. 100%. As we've been talking in and out throughout this conversation with the politics, I get a sense that some Black voters feel politically homeless and they're frustrated with both major parties. What are you hearing about trust and disillusionment with the political system in America?
So yeah, I've heard the term political homeless before. It's a kind of a new term to me, but when I think about it, it's like, why do we need a political home? I mean, I get it as taxpayers and things like that. We should be spoken for, but we should be interested in creating our own parties or putting up a candidate, whether it's a Republican, Democrat, Independent, that's going to do something for us too. Right. So this whole illusion, if you will, about politics, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that nobody in the White House is going to do anything for Black people, which is why we got to do for self. See, we are one of the only group of people that have been sold and told that voting is your way out. If you vote long enough, if you vote strong enough, you might get something. Well, we've been voting like this since the 60s. How long we got to wait? My mama gone, my daddy gone. But do I got to be gone before we get that? So it's like, how long do we need to wait? So as I said before about Black men, we are who we're waiting on. We don't need a political party for us to walk in our greatness. When we start walking in our greatness, then these political parties will start listening.
Got it. Then let me ask, given the rise, especially in America, and especially with this upcoming midterm election, the rise in suppression tactics, digital disinformation, and attacks on teaching history, what does protecting Black political power need to look like now? How do we protect our power?
Well, we protect our power, first of all, by not giving it away, right? We keep it. Whether it's teaching history in school or whatever, I don't care what them people teach about us, because they're not going to teach you right. See, we protect it by we keep it. We don't give it away. Give it away. Our power says, oh, school system, I need you to teach my Black child about who they are. Nobody else does that. So we keep our own power. We don't concede power to them people because they're not going to treat us right. They never have and they never will. And we got to stop expecting and thinking that if they do something for us or they teach us about us, then we matter. No, we matter because we say we matter, not because of them.
There we go. Then do you know are you familiar of any Black-led organizations or coalition building that give you hope about the future of Black political power in America?
Black coalition building?
Oh no, so Black-led organizations.
Oh.
Do you know any organizations or coalition organizations that give hope for the future of Black political power in America?
So if it's talking about politics, I don't know of any, because the ones that they say are for us have never been for us. NAACP, CBC, I don't know, someone say the Urban League and all these other ones. Have they really been for us? If you could go look at any of their web pages or social media pages right now, you'll see them talking more about the ICE raids than they are Black people. So no, there's no political organization right now that I feel hopeful about that's supposed to be for Black Americans. No. Mm-mm.
What would an organization that looks effective look like if you have a vision of an effectively run, not only internally, but externally, Black political power base in America?
Well, if you say that you are for Black, you have the word Black I know the NAACP is color, but then if you know anything about the NAACP, they weren't really created by all Black folks. There was some other people that weren't Black involved in that. But I would just imagine if you say that you are for Blacks, you should be for that. These organizations are for everybody but Black Americans. When I say everybody but, I mean everybody but. We don't get a crumb, a leftover, nothing. We see them, like I said, I don't agree with the ICE raids and how they're going about it. I think that it's jacked up, and it is humane the way they're going about it. Now, I do agree if you're here illegally, yeah, you should come back legally, right? But you run around talking about, down with ICE, and you champion more for Latinos. I'll just say illegal immigrants because there's a lot of people who are here illegally. You're champion for them, and you ain't got a word for Black Americans who are here legally. I mean, these fools is even, excuse me, but that's just what I think they are. But they run around trying to talk about birthright citizenship means everybody. It wasn't no immigrants here when the birthright citizenship was given out. It was talking about the, I hate to quote Trump, but the babies are slaves. And now our own organizations, they fighting for birthright citizenship for people who wasn't even there then.
It's interesting. Let me ask, what is your audience saying about the whole immigration situation? What are their thoughts on it?
Well, my audience, also my family members, that's what I like to call them. They're a lot of them don't bite their tongue. Okay. Some of them are a little bit more austere with it than I am. Again, I agree with ICE. ICE has been created to make sure there's no foreign entities here that may do ill will here, right? What I understand, ICE became a thing after 9/11, so I get the purpose of it. You can't go to anybody's country and just be there, right, without checking in. Most of us has gone to different countries before you even get in the country. What you here for? Who you going to see? Where's the address? How long you going to be here, right? They ask you all these things. So to think that people should be able to come over here and just stay is wrong. But the other thing is when people come over here illegally, that hurts Black Americans because we have seen them get what we have been told we cannot have. So a lot of them, they agree with ICE, right? I agree with the notion of ICE. I don't agree with the actions and, roughing people up, because I don't agree when the police rough us up. But yeah, they don't hate ICE. They're okay with ICE. Yeah.
Okay. Comment going back a while back. Hope my co-producer can get it. Brown Miss Jones says, that sister can answer questions in real time. He's very knowledgeable, and you can tell she's a student of truth. Love it. JG Mars, who's a regular supporter of the Dr. Vibe family, says both DEI and affirmative action. Yep. And then Albie Chill says, Malcolm warned us about the fox and the wolf. Yet 60 plus years later, we as a collective are still emotionally attached to the blue and the red instead of relying on us, the Black. Sota says, I read this years ago. The only power someone has over you is what you choose to give them. This is why I can relate to Demetra Kaye and others who think the same. Another person here. Hey to the host and my girl, Demetra, mods and chat. I just subscribed to your channel. Wonderful. That's what I'm talking about. And make sure you support and watch and engage like you are here. And JG Mars says, I'm a part of Demetra's audience. She speaks the truth. Yes, I was watching Demetra yesterday and I saw you on there, JJ Mars. So good to have you here also. And we also have, what about our rights?
Yeah.
What about our rights? Excellent. Okay, let's continue on. This is Fast and Furious and time is beginning to run down really quick. Let's talk about the latest reports say the digital divide is widening again. Cuts to broadband programs, school Wi-Fi, and equity initiatives. How does that shape the opportunity for our Black students and our Black workers?
So you said as far as the internet is shifting?
Yeah, so the digital divide, because many years ago there was this phrase, the digital divide. Those who had access to tech and those who didn't, and it looks like it's happening again, especially with the world of the tech bros. How is that impacting in your mind opportunities for people like you and I?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'd imagine if you live in an area and you needed the internet, and you need the internet, I guess, for everything, even to watch TV now, unless you have the rabbit ears or whatever. But if you go to school, a lot of schools want children to go to school with laptops and things like that. And I guess they would need the internet. So yeah, that would be an issue. But one thing I will say, I believe probably a lot more Black people than we realize have the internet. Because for one thing, we want to be on the phones, we want to watch TV, and just keep it a buck. Black Americans watch TV and more than anybody. So we gonna get the internet. If we got to string two cans together, we gonna have an internet.
Excellent. And I think this is a question for people like you and I. What do you feel the responsibility of Black media, especially Black independent content creators, carry in this new world of information?
Well, that's something that's very passionate to me, is to make sure that we as Black folks in this space, we are honest in our reporting as possible. Like I always tell people, I will never lie to you. If I do, it's not on purpose. And if I do, I want to be corrected, right? I'm not one of those people sit up here, you can't tell me what to do. No, if I'm wrong, let me know, right? And I will, do a 180 from that and all of that. But we have a duty, we have a responsibility to be honest, and let's keep it real. We know that in this space, it's about the money. It is. A lot of people aren't doing this for free. Some people are, right? But there's a check that comes with this. And so we know that if we speak about certain things that we should be speaking about, you're probably gonna have two people on here. Okay. So sometimes people get in a space that look like us and they do the most, right? And they want the clicks and the views. But I always think to myself, am I willing to sell my soul and lie to people for $1? Because trust me, it ain't that much. Okay. Not on my channel anyway. Right. But I'm appreciative for what I get. So I don't want to be mistaken. But am I going to sell out for $1? Because I know you have to pay the price on the back end of that, especially when you are misleading Black folks for money. Right. If I feel like if you tell the truth, the reward will come eventually. So we have to be honest, because them people do that to us all day long. You can turn on the mainstream media, they're going to be lying about us and, all kind of stuff. So we got to get on here. We got to be the antidote to that. We got to speak. And I hate the word. Well, I don't hate it, but truth to power, because it's so watered down now, right? Because it's like, what does that mean? Is it your truth to power, or is it really truth to power? And if you're really telling truth to power in this space, you got to do it even if you make a cent. Okay, or if you don't make no money, it is your duty to be honest and tell the truth.
Nice. Want to talk a little about culture and economics quickly, especially with gas prices. We're looking like a recession. I think there's already a recession, but even more so now. So economists talk about recession, and many of us talk about exhaustion and grief. From your lens, how is this moment affecting Black mental health and our sense of possibility?
I don't know if it's necessarily having an effect on, well, listen, I'll say this. Black Americans are always affected. I don't care if it's a war, it's the economy, it's a recession, depression. We always affected, but guess what? We figure it out. And I think that's the beautiful part, especially about Black Americans, is because we've been up against it for so long. When things happen, it hurts, but we're like, oh, we've been through this before. We know how to survive, right? So we figure it out, but it's never nice to see that the gas, I say in California, they're seeing $8 a gallon right now. So that's not nice, because we know sometimes we are more economically challenged, but we figure it out. That's what we do. But we need to get to a point to where we can say, oh, gas is $8 a gallon. That's okay, because we ball and we got our own gas stations, right? We'll be all right.
So Ernest says Black politicians in America are just head figures that don't serve the body of people they're supposed to represent. That's the same here in Canada, Ernest. Don't worry, it's not just a U.S. thing. It's a North American thing, at least. What do you feel are the role of churches, grassroots organizations, and mutual aid networks playing in the formal assistance for Black support? What role, are these organizations doing? And then, it's a general statement. Do you feel they're doing what they need to do, or could they be doing more, especially the Black church?
Oh, that's a 3-hour conversation.
I want you back every once in a while.
Well, as far as the black church, the black church is not doing what it used to do. Okay. And I would just probably say this about most churches, but since we're talking about the black church, see, the black church used to be where the parsonage, that's where the pastor and his family lived, right? It was right next door. It was within arm's reach. You can go and knock on the door. Hey, pastor, I got an issue. Nowadays, you got to go to the armor bearer. The armor bearer's got an armor bearer, and the armor bearer's got a secretary, and that secretary's got a secretary to go even talk to the pastor. So you used to be able to assess the pastor, and he was able to help come to your home and all of that. Nowadays, he's next to Jesus. You got to make 5 appointments. So I say all that to say the church used to be a pillar in the community where you knew it was a source of relief, prayer, and they even had a little bit of a benevolence fund, right? If you couldn't pay your light bill, yeah, sister so-and-so, I got you here, go on and write her a check. So they don't do that anymore. And so they haven't been a help. And in a lot of cases, they get in lockstep with the Democratic plantation. And they sell us on the same old. I always say the black church nowadays operates like the Democrat Party. Just hope and pray. Like, nah, we need the Reverend Ikes, like back in the day, when he would preach about prosperity and what's wrong with you, use this, you can have anything you want type of thing. But they keep us, they have to, because in the black church, if they wake up the congregation ain't going to be there, because in the congregation it's like, oh, you mean to tell me God has given me everything I need? I don't need to come here and listen to doom and gloom for 2, 3, 14 hours if you're in the black church about how if you just keep on Nah, you need to tell these people God has given you everything that you need. See, the church don't operate like that no more. They keep us subservient and bowing down to a God that we have never met, right? And they don't teach us that we are gods. God says, if you're made in my image, then we must be a God. See, that's blasphemy in a lot of places. But see, if you have people thinking that they are gods, then you might have them thinking that, hey, I got the ability to control my life, with the help of God. So the black church, in a lot of cases, especially now, has kept the black community subservient, and it's not right, because that's not the will of God.
Got it. So Albie Chill says, especially the demo rats, they have matted the art of selling emotions to the Negro. And Arna Ba says, greetings, Dr. Vibe, Demetra, and family. Good to have you here. As we start winding down, because I know you got a lot of things on the go, some final conversation pieces. If Black America is in a state of emergency, as some leaders say, what does an emergency response look like from our communities, not just our institutions?
Well, the state of emergency is you got the SOS. You have to save yourself. We have to learn to save ourselves. We used to. Especially here in America, our ancestors left those plantations with nothing. The slave master is saying, well, I'm going to miss you. He going with a boatload of money. All the money we stole from y'all, here's some food, here's some, they put us off of those plantations reluctantly with nothing. And our people built this. Our people built the Wall Streets, the Slocums, them Allensworth, the Rosewoods, all you name it. There was 1,200 black towns in America, right? That we built right off the plantations. So nobody was doing anything for us. We saved ourselves so we could do it then in the worst conditions ever. We could do it again.
Nice. Someone says here, abandoning conventional infrastructure, community organization, butcher, baker, candlestick maker, solving civic infrastructure internally. Nice. Good stuff. Then where should Black America, in your mind, be directing our energy in the next 12 to 24 months? Building Black businesses, organizing around specific policies, shifting how we spend our dollars, or something else?
I think first we should rethink how we spend our dollars. You got to start there, because if you don't have no money, nothing else matters. We cannot influence policy. We can't buy businesses or build them if we don't have the money. So we got to stop giving 97% of our money away. Stop that, right? Keep it, save it. We talked about this yesterday on the African Diaspora News Channel. Save our money, right? What's the need versus needs versus wants? Buy the things that you need, and sometimes some of the things you want. That way, for the money you saved, you can say, hey, I can invest in a Black school. I can invest in Black media, right? Like the Dr. Vibe Show, African Diaspora News Channel, the Demetra Kaye Show. We can do those things, and we can build our own entities, and we don't have to think about hoping and praying that somebody outside of ourselves is going to do something for us. See, when you got the money, you start keeping the money. They start saying, oh, just like they did before the civil rights movement. Oh, they got their money. Let's give them some civil rights, because it wasn't about us. It was about the money. And they've been having our money ever since.
Arniba says, that's right. Matthew 5:48 says, be perfect as God. This shows us who we really are. But the preachers never teach on that. Okay. And Sylvia says, Black business need a strong networking system. Well, I would just add it. We got to make sure our net is working. We got to make sure that. We'll close on this then. What are 3 concrete actions someone watching this can take this week, wherever they lived, to strengthen the state of maybe not only Black America, but the Black world?
Well, I always say this. You cannot go save the world until you save yourself, until you save your family. Many people, especially doing what we do in this space, they out there preaching to everybody else. They talking to the world. And it's like, okay, great. Have you talked to your mama, your daddy, your kids? Have you talked to them at all? Do they know how to do all the things you're telling everybody to do? So I say that to say we should be having these conversations with our family first. See, I can't talk to everybody else if I'm not talking to my daughter. I tell people all the time, if I needed to take a vacation, I say, hey, I told my daughter, can you sit in my seat and do this? She could do this, because it means nothing if my own daughter cannot do and mirror the things that I'm talking about. So I'm saying start with your family first. If we start with the family on an individual basis, then the community kind of solves itself, right? So if we're talking about group economics, up united nation, accomplish what you will, do for self in our own home, saving money and investing in Black businesses, then that's just kind of the way it's going to go for the Black community. But I think we're thinking too large sometimes. Not that I'm a pessimist, but we're talking about going to build these organizations. Hey, how about we save some money in our home first? Then we could talk like that.
It all starts at home. All starts at home. All right. So Silvio says, good point. I'll be chill. 100. Ernest says, Black people want substance for their vote, just like everyone else that participates in the political process. And Brian says, and they'll be using every mechanism that seems like an elegant solution, whether implicit or explicit, to interfere with that. Wow. This has been a fire hour. This has been a fire hour. Want to say thank you so much for taking the most important thing, your time, to hang out with us today.
It has been my pleasure, and please invite me back. I cannot wait to see you at the ADNC Power Narrative Summit, along with Sister Emma, Brother Phil, Brother Theo, everybody. I just cannot wait.
Okay, so we may have lost Demetra for a moment, but what I'm also going to do is just make sure that you find out where you can find her. So this is her YouTube channel. Subscribe. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel.
Please and thank you.
Yeah, and you won't be disappointed. I haven't been for the last few days, been checking out, and I'm getting educated. So support not just independent media, independent Black media. So anything that Demetra's tied on to, with Philip Scott, a whole bunch of the content creators, get some real truth and real news. Check it out. Get some real truth and real news on everything that she does. And also, there's her website, also DemetraKaye.com. Check that out too. I have a feeling she can help you. Something tells me that she can help you out. So check that out also. What's up next for you on your journey? Anything we should be looking out for?
Well, that's, God willing, you'll be seeing me more of everywhere. Of course, we'll be in Columbus, Ohio in May. Us being the African Diaspora News Channel, Brother Phil. We cannot wait to come to Toronto, Canada. I always have a whole lot of things going on, but yeah, just I'm gonna be everywhere. I'll always be here.
Absolutely. And I'm also going to put up on the screen the information for the ADNC. It's there for you. And some more comments. So Emma says, Sister D, what are you looking forward to most coming to Toronto for the ADNC Narrative Power Summit?
Well, first, I've never been to Canada, so I'm looking forward to
Wow.
I've never been, right? So I'm looking forward to that. And of course, having a great conversation with everybody and just partaking in all of the events. And I should say, shout out to Sister Emma, as I understand this is her endeavor. Yes.
We're both doing this. We're both doing this.
Both of y'all. Yes. So shout out. See, Black folks moving and grooving. That's what I'm talking about, right? We don't need for ABC, NBC, or whatever y'all news station, whatever it is over there to invite us. We create our own. There we go.
100% facts. Soda says, I appreciate you, Dr. V. Got my sub. Appreciate you back. Make sure you're also subscribing to the Demetra, because we ain't doing it one-on-one. We're doing it together. Right? And Bryce says they use signals of interference to cut his feet of Demetra. Well, I ain't gonna go there. Ernest says self-preservation is the first law of nature. And Ernest says, see you on the next one. Well, we are going to have her back. I'm actually going to see if we can have her on once a month if she's up to it.
Why not?
If she's okay, you heard that, fam? We're gonna work that out on offline, 100%. Again, there's the Narrative Power Summit. There's Demetra's contact information. I've also put it in the content section on most of the places you're watching this live on the replay. As always, too, maybe make sure you subscribe if you want to my channel. I got to catch up to Demetra. She's setting the torch. And then there's Phil. All right. Right. Enough said. But you know what? So just a little teaser, everybody. A week from today at 12 noon Eastern, Philip Scott's going to be here.
Woohoo!
So you better subscribe. Get, as the a famous Black pastor says, get ready, get ready, get ready.
Right, get ready, get ready, get ready.
100%. And also to advertise your business product or service on any of the platforms I'm on, email me dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com. And if you want to touch base with me, also to go to taplink.cc/the drvibeshow.com. And then finally, if you want to watch replays of this epic conversation, go to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, or my website, the drvibeshow.com. We always end off the Dr. Vibe Show with this: live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get smaller to get stronger. Block assumptions. Aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. Don't just manage your time, manage your energy. And very important, especially these days, remember to give yourself grace. God bless. Peace be all. Keep the faith. And Demetra, thank you so much. Be well and keep the faith.